You want to add lithium grease to brake pads. So you want me to not have brakes. I've not had any hugely, or you can say, wild incidents, but I've had scary incidents on the road. It is an old car. It's an American. Okay, and what happened was, there was nothing wrong with the car. We hadn't touched the car. It was still stock back then, completely stock. I was picking a friend from Sharjah. I was still new to driving, even better. We were picking peak time around 3 to 4 p.m. Peak time of traffic, Sharjah to Dubai, lunchtime, going back to offices. I'm driving in the fast lane, about 120, 110, something like that. Suddenly the engine decides to shut off. It seizes. In the middle of the lane, brake jams, steering wheel jams. The engine is not running. You cannot hear anything. It's running on battery only and the wheels are just rolling. It's like you're driving in neutral. Peak Sharjah traffic, e-trucks here, chargers, the cars here. Hazards on. I freaked out, and I have a friend in a car who is very easily panicked. So the steering is jammed, but we're slowly moving to it was a 4-lane highway, so we're moving to the 4th lane. As soon as we are about to reach the hard shoulder, engine decides to come back to life. I did not touch the key, nothing. Engine just decides to come back to life. Sped our way back home. Not stopping for anything, no petrol, no emergencies, nothing. Just go home. It wasn't that bad. I thought that was the end of it. Okay, it's a misfire. It happens. We'll get our spark plugs changed. Done. Then university one day, we were driving. I decided, okay, it's not a fast car. I wanted to test the 0 to 100 time for this car. We have a long stretch in front of our university. So I'm with the same friend, surprisingly. So we are on that stretch. I stop the car zero, like it's a 0 speed. Everything, car road's empty. I press I floor it. It lifts up, it goes, and then it just stops. And then it's just rolling. What happened? Engine seized again. And it's just rolling there. We are freaking out, and then the police appears from the back. He's like, why are you stopped on the street? Move. I had turned the car off, trying to turn it on, it was working. So I'm like, okay. I turned the car on and the car is rolling at 1 kilometer per hour, 2 kilometers. And then he goes, and then the police guy is just staring. He's like, are they running? I'm like, we're going 2 kilometers per hour, we're running. We keep going. Just to seem smart, and because there was strangers staring, I parked the car, opened the bonnet, just looked inside because I know I can't do anything about a misfire. Turned the car on, it was back to normal. Then when we reached university back, and I just put it in park, the car starts literally shaking for no reason. I have no idea why. I still don't know why it was, because that was the only time it happened. Car is shaking literally like this. You can see it going side to side. I freaked out, left the car there for a while, came back as if nothing happened ever again. This is not really interesting, but I used to have a friend who had a Pajero. He used to always also be involved with cars and me, and as much as, he was also crazy. So he had an issue with his exhaust, so when he revved, it got loud at some points. It had sort of backfire, but without the fire, just the pops. So he liked it. Even though it was hurting his engine, he's like, it's okay sometimes. So as a group, we went out somewhere. So I used to tease him, no, my car is better, his car is better. We used to do that. So he was revving once. So I'm like, okay, I want to rev also. I revved, and then tuck, 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 engine knock. Oh God. And I freaked out. Turned the car off, it's still knocking. We're freaking out. And we just reached and surprisingly, I was not supposed to be there because it's unplanned. I was supposed to be going somewhere else. So I had nobody to call for help either, because no one had reached then. It was only me and 2 other friends. The other one had a classic Camaro, and then this Pajero. Both are useless to me right now because nobody knows how to diagnose engine knock. We're like, it's okay. The car is starting, knocking. Like, just turn the car off, knocking stopped. But when we turn it on, it comes back. We left it, just like, leave it, it's okay, let's go. Half an hour, 1 hour later, like, come back, Say Bismillah, start. All gone. All gone. We're like, just go back home. Nobody talks to your parents. Nobody done. Zoop. Never again. That was the scariest sound I heard. It was not minor knock. You could hear it. The rod click, hit the cylinder really hard, as if this. So scary, but yeah. So we recently, since last year, let's do small repairs together. My dad and I were saying, let's do small repairs, maintenance together. I have a pulley noise, so we're like, let's change the idler pulley ourselves, because it's just a matter of loosening the belt. And then we needed to change our brake pads, because again, we had a brake failure incident. Master cylinder was gone, so we replaced that from the garage. After a while, our brake pads also wore out. Brake was not going, everything. So we're like, let's change the brake pads. Before going to the garage, I suggested, let's change them at home. We want to do something, let's start from this properly. He's like, okay. Then I did a bit of research. My dad, because as far as he's got the brakes changed for all his cars before, it's just a matter of replacing the brakes. But how it really is, or done in a proper way to increase the value or increase the lifespan of your brake pads, is that you have to add the correct lubricants, the correct anti-seize, anything, all of these you have to add it in the correct places. I did research. We bought those products, not available easily here because nobody really uses them for brakes, not all the time. So we did that. We spent, I think, 6 hours or 7 hours. All 4 brakes, we overhauled all 4 brakes. So we painted our calipers as well, and we found out that our brakes, okay, they were gone, the brake pads were done. Front brake pads, almost zero. Perfect, time to change. Rear brake pads, opening them took half an hour. When we opened them, we found out our slide pins that helps compress and decompress, those were jammed inside the caliper. So we had no stopping power from the rear end. That's why the car was slipping sometimes, like fishtailing. When we removed them, finally, we found out that the rubber that's on the top of the slide pin, that was stuck to that, and it was melted on the slide pin, so it was not moving back and forth. We realized this is what happens when we go to cheap garages or cheap service stations and do it quickly. So my dad, since then, he's like, we'll do all our brake changes and oil changes at home. We're like, no, not going anywhere, because now we know what happens. We could have had a bad accident because of these. Front brake pads gone, back brake pads still there, but they're not working. Then we did a complete cleanup, everything. We removed the brake residue, all of that. Used silicone paste and brake cleaner, all of that. We went to Ace Hardware, surprisingly. We wanted copper anti-seize. It's needed to add the brake pads so that there's, reducing friction when it's moving, when you change new pads. They don't know what anti-seize is. Copper anti-seize. You're like, what is that? Ace Hardware. We found silicone paste, lithium grease, whatever, for doors, everything. We didn't find anti-seize. Yes, we have lithium grease. You want to add lithium grease to brake pads. So you want me to not have brakes. He's like, no, use this, please. It's okay. So you don't want me to have brakes. We had to order anti-seize from Amazon because Sharjah market, no copper anti-seize. They had aluminium based. That's not good for your brakes. So my dad's like, we're opening the brakes, let's paint them also. So we painted them black. I wanted to go for green, but they didn't have the color. So we're like, let's keep them black for now. So there was a point while doing the brakes, car was on one wheel and 2 jack stands and 1 hydraulic jack. So if someone touched the jack, the car would fall on you. We didn't have the huge 4-ton, 6-ton jacks. We had the 3-ton, the one that comes with the car for emergency cases. And having a 32 or 31.5-inch wheel, so that, and a 3-ton car on just a tiny jack and 2 jack stands, it's a very scary thing. So, but it was really fun. I learned a lot, and then we realized that it actually brakes better now than it used to before. But we also caused this has to have a con. So we had an air bubble in our brake cylinder. So just till before 2 weeks ago, our brakes were spongy. Sometimes they would not go, sometimes they would, depending on the pressure inside. The air bubble was really big because when we pushed the pistons inside to add the pads, brake fluid leaked out. We forgot to top it back, so there was an air gap inside. So we recently, and now my car is old. It's not sports car. It doesn't need high temperature brake fluid. So it has .3 brake fluid. Here most cars use .4. Hard to find .3. Search Sharjah. Search petrol stations. .4, .4, .4, .4, 5.1, .5.2. Nothing. .3. Ace Hardware had .3. So we got it. Then we topped it up just before going to our Leva plan again this year. Thankfully now, alhamdulillah, our brakes are fine.